Welcome to Becoming Limitless. This is the podcast for entrepreneurs who want to optimize their brain and their body with biohacking. I'm going to teach you how to eliminate brain fog and upgrade your health so you can have more productivity, energy, and growth in your business. I'm your host, Tanessa Shears. Let's jump in. Welcome back to the Becoming Limitless podcast. All right, we are here for part 3 of this 4-part series that I called the Breakthrough Series. And the whole point is to help you get unstuck, because naturally, when you go through any journey, and specifically, we're talking about your journey to achieve optimal health, wellness, energy, focus so that you can feel good in your business. When you go through that journey, naturally, at each stage you get to, there's going to be sticking points. There's going to be roadblocks. There's going to be things that you need to overcome and skills that you need to achieve in order to move through those sticking points. So like I said, this is actually the 3rd episode. In the very first episode of this series, we talked about the problems and the issues and how to succeed in the very beginning of your journey, like when you just start. The 2nd episode was all about what happens just after you started. But today's episode, we're talking about all of the things that are going to come up for you and what you need to learn just before attaining your dream outcome, just before you hit the goal, just before you start to feel fully optimized. Because if we don't know what the roadblocks are, then we don't know what the solutions are. So I'm going to be laying it out for you nice and simple so that you can keep moving through this journey. I don't want you to get stuck. So in this episode, if you are like, you've been going on this health journey for a while and you're getting real close to your end goal, you might be encountering some of these issues. And I'm hoping in this podcast, you can see yourself in this and be like, that sounds like me. That's what I've been struggling with. So let's jump in. We're going to talk first about the roadblocks that you are going to be encountering after you've been on this journey for a while and that end goal is coming real close. So the first one that you're likely going to encounter is going to be complacency. And things you might be thinking are like, I've come so far. Maybe I can relax a little bit. Like, I've got pretty decent results at this point. This won't hurt. Just once won't be a problem. You know those type of thoughts that you get when you're like, it's all right, we're doing pretty good. Or maybe you are starting to feel good enough. Like maybe these results are good enough. And you get tempted to revert to old habits. And this gets so easy at this part it becomes quite the slippery slope. And I like to call these little quits where, I'm just gonna, veer off my protocol just for this. And then it's just for this because I'm so close and I've come so far and I deserve this and I've been working on this so long. And you start to do these little quits. And I like to equate these little quits with let's picture you're in a car, okay? And you're driving down the freeway and all of a sudden you see an exit sign and it's like, so many miles to go until you hit the off ramp. And then it's like, you're closer at the next one. And you get all these warning signs that your exit is coming up, right? That's what I like to think of as these little quits. They're literally signs that saying, hey, you are on an exit ramp off this highway towards your goal. It's coming. And if you don't notice or bring into your awareness that these are happening, you're going to end up on that exit ramp. And this is how we create a lot of that. You'll hear people say I lost 50 pounds and then gained it all back. Or, I was doing so well with my sleep. And then all of a sudden now I'm sleeping 6 hours a night again. What the heck happened? And that is usually because of this complacency that sets in where we're like, hey, I don't need to lose more weight. This is kind of good enough. I mean, my sleep is good enough. And that goal is so close. Like the light is at the end of the tunnel. And so you start to ease up and take the foot off the gas, right? Another one that comes up, overconfidence. And you're just like, hey, I've got this figured out. I don't need help anymore. Meaning you feel like you know exactly what's coming and you're just getting ready to go into maintenance mode. And this, I got to speak on this. When I hear someone say to me, I'll just go into maintenance mode, for me as a consultant and a coach, that is a red flag. Because here's the deal. Most of us, when we think about what maintenance mode, and I'm using air quotes around this, maintenance mode means some kind of set of actions which is different from what you are currently doing to achieve the result. But I want you to think about this. What got you there will keep you there. So to have the energy you love, if that meant 6 nights a week of great sleep, if that means whole foods 6 days a week, if that means, doing exercise 3 days a week or whatever it is, whatever it took for you to get that result, If you want to keep the result, you are going to need to keep the actions that got you there. So I don't believe in this concept of maintenance mode because our brains use that as like when I get there, I can finally let up. This won't be so hard. But that creates a problem because when you get there, if you take your foot off the gas, you are going to backslide in your results. And this is so frustrating after you've worked so hard for this. This is a huge reason why I am a fan of not implementing things you don't plan on doing for the rest of your life. So for example, I don't calorie count and I don't teach it in my programs. The reason for that is you're not going to be calorie counting until you're in your 90s. And so you need to learn how to do something sustainably long-term, right? Same with exercise. If you're not going to be doing 6 days a week, 2 workouts a day for an hour each for the rest of your life, then don't do that because that is what is going to create the result. And if you want to keep the result, it has to be sustainable, all right? So this is one of the reasons that for me, in many areas of my life, I'm under constant mentorship because I always know that I don't know what's coming or I might need a tweak or this complacency mindset might set in. So I never feel like I've mastered anything. Even in the position I am, I have not mastered my health. I am still always pursuing new goals, learning new things, holding myself accountable to different things. So watch that you don't feel too overconfident and that you're like, I got this, because you may not see the roadblock that's coming straight ahead of you, right? And then those are the ones we usually fall down to. Another roadblock that might come up is fear of what we call the last mile. So we are concerned, for example, that the final steps to your goal will be the hardest, meaning that last stretch. And here's a really good example. Like if you've ever gone on any type of weight loss journey, and I'm only relating to this because I have lost, 30, 40 pounds twice postpartum, is that last 5 to 8 pounds for me was so hard compared to the first 20. Like I felt like it was relatively smooth going, things were moving at a slow but steady pace. I was happy with it. But those last 5 to 7 pounds were so stubborn for me. And so I don't let fear of the additional work it was going to take to get through that stop me, right? Because sometimes we're like, oh my gosh, it's so much harder at this point because, the improvements are so much smaller. The tweaks are so much more refined. Don't let that fear of having to maybe step it up to get to the end result, like detract from your ability to get to your result. And the very last roadblock kind of actually ties in nicely is this fear or this when you start to plateau and when that progress that you've been experiencing starts to slow down or seem stagnant. Because like I said, whether you're getting, from 85 to 88 on your sleep scores, on your Oura ring, and you're just getting you're getting that consistency up just a little bit, or maybe you're just bringing your readiness score or your activity scores up into the 90s. It's that last little bit. Everything you're doing is good, but you want great, right? Naturally, those results are going to take more consistency and more refinement. So I don't want you to see the slowdown of progress and think something has gone wrong and quit. This is totally normal, right? It's why the same reason that last 5 pounds takes so much extra effort to get off. And you're not losing that steady weight anymore, right? Because your body's near the end of the journey. Progress is going to slow down. Don't let this lead to doubt. So complacency, overconfidence, fear of that last mile, and plateauing are the 4 major roadblocks that you may experience right before you achieve your goal. And the problem with these is that you're kind of in like that almost there stage. And it is at this point where all the effort you have been put in can be easily undone because of that complacency. And I don't want you to backslide because it is so frustrating. So if you are watching for these things, when you see them happen, like think of them like those red flags, right? Those little quits, and decide not to go that route, all right? So here are some signs that you are in this stage just before attaining your goal, and you're maybe experiencing some of these roadblocks. So you might become lax in your dietary choices. So let's say, for example, you decided 6 days a week, I'm going to eat no sugar, no flour. And these are just examples. Well, maybe you're like, I'm really close. I'm going to just move it to 5 days. And then you notice a little bit of fogginess, but you're like, it's okay. It's worth the trade-off because now I can eat when I'll eat all these things just because I want to be eating them. That's an example. Or maybe you start skipping some of your more advanced wellness practices. And how this showed up for me was like, I don't need the red glasses anymore. I'm sleeping great. And then all of a sudden, it's really slow. And over time, I notice my sleep quality is not as good. Put the glasses back on. I need to keep focused, and watching that your brain is starting to believe that, I can just do the basics. I mean, as long as I'm off screens 30 minutes before bed, but it's not just that created the result that I have, right? It's off screens an hour before bed, and the red glasses and the magnesium and the red bulb in my bedside table. It's all these small changes, right? So if you are noticing you're starting to skip the more advanced wellness practice and thinking the basic ones are enough, you might be in this stage. Another one, you might be avoiding challenging exercises or practices. So maybe it is, that more rigorous, or maybe rigorous isn't the word, but like the meditation practice that is a little longer, and you're just like, I can do 2 minutes. I just don't have time anymore. Things like that, right? Becoming overly relaxed about your routine, meaning you're not placing the same weight on it. And what will start to happen is naturally, where our demanding business schedules and demanding life schedules will start to overtake. If you do not have that priority about it, you will start to slip back. And if you don't still maintain it as the priority, right? And also the very last one is ignoring signs that you're starting to get stressed out or fatigue. And you're just like, I'm almost there. Like, I just got to push, and you're ignoring maybe the stress you're under because you think it's just, I'm almost there. I know that my Oura ring, for example, is showing that I should probably take an extra recovery day or two because, maybe my heart rate variability is dropping and my body is showing more signs of stress. But instead of watching that, you plow ahead. So these are definitely signs that you might be hitting some of these roadblocks. Now, I'm going to be giving you some ideas on how to succeed in this stage and the skills that you're going to need to learn to move forward. Hey, pause for just a moment. Do you want my top 12 ways to biohack your energy? I've created an entrepreneur's playbook that holds my favorite tips and tricks to help you have highly productive mornings in your business. If you're looking for a boost in energy and focus, I think you'll really like this free playbook I've created for you. Check out the link in the show notes to grab it. So number one, you need to stay the course and remember why you started this journey. And this speaks to your why. And I'm just going to riff on this a little bit. The idea of find your why, I feel like we get it, but we don't actually do the practice of it. Now, I want you to think about this. Most of the time when I ask people why they want to achieve their goals, and they're like, I want more energy, or I want to feel more focused, or I want to not have brain fog. And I love those, but they do feel very surface to me. So I, at this point, really like to ask, well, why is that important to you? Why do you want to have more energy? Oh, it's because I don't like feeling tired all the time. Okay, great. Why don't you like feeling tired all the time? Well, because I can't feel very present with my kids, or I just don't get through as much work. Why do you want to feel more present with your kids, right? Well, maybe you want to feel more present with your kids because you want to have that meaningful connection time because they're growing up really fast and you don't want to have their childhood pass by and feel foggy the whole time. And you want to be there as a parent and feel connected and engaged, and that they see, you as a healthy role model, and you don't want to pass on generational excuses of I don't want to work out, I don't want to eat this food, I'm too tired, but you want to empower them with generational health. And you just want to change the trajectory of your family, and the legacy you want to leave is not just about your business and your money, but about how you show up in the world and take care of this body that we're given. Currently, you can tell that this is my why, right? That is what's going to get you through this. Remembering that, not being I just want more energy, because I'm going to tell you that does not get me out of bed in the morning. What gets you out of bed in the morning? Here's the thing I'm going to get you to do. I'm going to get you to ask yourself, why do you want to achieve this goal? You're almost there. Why? Now ask yourself why 5 more times. Well, why do you want that? Why do you want that? Okay, I'm going to get you to do this. So stay the course. Remember why you started. Next one, seek advanced guidance. As you progress, you're going to need to get more specialized attention. So a really good example of this is maybe you set a new goal because maybe your goal was to run a marathon, just riffing on this here. And then maybe you want to do an Ironman, which is run, bike, swim. Well, maybe now you need to seek out a specialized coach that knows how to prep you for an Ironman, right? Or maybe, you're working out well, you're eating well, you're sleeping well, but it could be more, and you want to use an Oura ring and know how to read the data and how to apply specific biohacks to help improve your scores, like a biohacking consultant coach. That's exactly what I do in my Becoming Limitless program. You want to seek out that guidance, right? You want to always be looking like, how am I continuing to optimize? For me, if you're finding that you're getting stagnant at all, seek out that advanced next level thing that keeps you looking forward so that you're not like, I'm getting bored, the goal's coming, right? The next one, celebrate small wins. It's at this point, like I said, the plateauing made happen. The slowing of the results made happen. You are getting complacent. So celebrate those small wins, like recognize and reward your progress. This is how you're going to maintain motivation, right? I want you to say, hey, I did the work this week. I showed up to my 3 workouts. I went to bed on time 6 nights a week. Like, celebrate yourself. Celebrate it with your partner. Tell somebody about it. Go to a group you're in and be like, hey, I'm kicking ass right now at my health stuff. Like, you need to make sure that you're acknowledging that, because our brains are so good at seeking out everything we're doing wrong that I want you to spend time actively celebrating what is going well. Because when maybe it's like the sleep scores are moving up really slow, or the scale is moving down really slow, but they're still moving, celebrate those wins. Look for what is going well, all right? Another thing, how to succeed in this stage, reevaluate your goals. This is at the time where you're like, okay, am I still aiming on that same target? Will that be sufficient to create the result I want? Like, are the things I'm doing right now taking me down the right path? Do I need to tweak, all right? And then lastly, how to succeed in this stage where you're almost at your goal, stay connected to a supportive community to stay on track. You are going to be a result of the people you spend your time with. So if you find that you're in a community right now, or a group, or maybe it's your family, and no one prioritizes health, and it's just you, it is going to be harder. It just is, because you're going to have people around you saying, why are you always on that diet? I don't get why you have to work out so much. You're so boring. Why do you always go to sleep so early? You're going to get that, right? So you want to be able to plug into a supportive, engaged community where people value what you value, where people value health, and also not just health, but health as a priority as much as their business, and prioritize that leisure time. And it's not all about the hustle and the work all the time and the sacrifice your sleep and just keep pushing. Like, where are those communities? And, within my program, Becoming Limitless, that is honestly, I think, one of the coolest things, because on all the calls that we do, I can't tell you how many times we had it happen just yesterday. Somebody volunteered to get coached on something, and we really went deep with her for like 30 minutes. And the comments that were coming in were like, thank you. That exactly solved what I needed help on. It was so vulnerable for you to share that. I see myself in you. I never thought about that. That coaching helps me too, right? And it's these supportive communities where you can get inspired with new ideas, lean on each other, see people go through the same struggles you are. Like, honestly, find a Facebook community, get a group of friends and make a WhatsApp chat, join my program, find a way to surround yourself with people that don't just value business. Like, it's so easy to find business masterminds, but can you find a group of people who's also like, yeah, I had a high revenue month, but at the same time, I'm sleeping really well. Like, and that's a value for me, because those will then become your values too. So we just went through everything you're going to cover as a roadblock. We went through the signs that you may be getting stuck in this phase and exactly how to succeed. So basically, your skills that you need to develop right now are reconnecting with your why, making it a priority, reviewing it daily, seeking that advanced guidance once you need that more specialized help, celebrating your small wins. Maybe you have a gratitude journal. Maybe you share it with your partner right before bed, reevaluating the action plan of your goals to make sure you're going to get there, and finding that supportive community that will help pull you through to the finish line. So I hope this has been really helpful. If you are in this place right now where you've been at this a while and you feel like, yeah, I've got the things, I'm going on and I'm almost at this point. So what will happen next if you really identified with this stage in the journey? Naturally, what's coming up next for you is what it's going to be in the 4th part of our series here, where in the next episode, we are talking all about what happens and the roadblocks that are going to come up just after you achieved your goal. So I will see you in the next episode. Learn something new in this episode or feel inspired to take action? I'd love for you to share it with a friend and leave a review. Your review will help one more entrepreneur feel healthier, more energized, and focused. If you feel good about helping a friend or a fellow business owner you've never even met, you are my kind of people. I'm excited to help you become limitless in the coming episodes.